Welcome everyone. To another episode of the Young Global Leaders Dialogue podcast, brought to you by Visionaries Hub Network, and I'm so excited today. If you're watching us live, just share this link, and also comment where you're watching us from, where you're watching us from. Just a comment, just comment. Share the broadcast to your friends. Share the broadcast. We are now live. And wow, today's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting today. Share the stream, share the live. You can share the live, invite your friends, invite those young people, young leaders. We are going to be starting now. And today I'm so excited. I said I have got an esteemed, amazing guest in the studio today. So to those who are not yet there, last month we began the journey of this podcast, the Visionaries Hub podcast, the rejuvenation of the podcast. During the COVID times, we're doing it on WhatsApp, but this time we said let's now bring it live so that we can have these interactions, these dialogues in some of the issues that affect us. So I'm so excited that today that we have another episode that we have today. And to those who were there last week, it was amazing. And today, I believe it's going to be extra amazing. So if you're watching us from, just comment where you're watching us from. My name is Christopher, and I'm your host for today's session again. And today, I've got an esteemed leader, an esteemed scholar and author in the building. I'm excited. Welcome, Anotida. Welcome, Anotida Chikumbu, to the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Chris, Mr. Chris. Thank you very much for the opportunity. When I received your invitation, I didn't have any other response. If it's Ambassador Chris, I have to say yes.
I'm humbled. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And I should say I acknowledge and I respect the good work that you are doing. I'm always in the position that you are in right now. I interview a lot of people. So today I'm in the position that I'm not usually. I don't usually find myself in. So it's going to be a profound experience.
Wow, amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also as all our friends are coming in, our audience coming out, I want to give you time also to get to fully introduce yourself. Who's Anotida? Probably some of the people might be following you, but they don't have that. They don't know who you are, and some of them have been following the book series that you've been bringing to us. Amazing stuff, amazing content and knowledge, and maybe there are some people that really want to get to know more about you. Who is Anotida? So I'm going to give you this opportunity to be able to share with your audience so that they can be able to know you better. And also, one of the things that we also do here on the podcast is each and every guest that we invite, we want to make sure that after the podcast, people get to follow also them and follow the work that they are doing also in their various spaces. So I'm going to give this opportunity for you to be able to just unpack yourself to us. Who is Anotida?
Oh, nice. Thank you very much. I get tempted to want to tell the story from the time that I was born up until now, but I'm just going to give you the major highlights that I can say they define me as a person and what I do right now. So I can say that I created one of the biggest and longest running interdisciplinary live television podcast show in the academic industry. I do a lot of interviews with academic professors, with university presidents, vice chancellors, politicians, cabinet ministers, diplomats, and all sorts of like high profile people. And what I usually talk about is their books, because most of those people do write a lot of books about politics, about the economy, about history, and a lot of different other subjects. So I can say that is what probably made my name a household name in the knowledge industry. I also deliver public lectures. I also broadcast lectures by other academic professors and all that. In my own regard as an academic, I'm a military historian. I do a lot of research around disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration of troops after conflict. I do research around war and society, issues around military coup d'etats, elections, and presidential leadership. I'm also a columnist for Newsday Zimbabwe and South Africa's Daily Maverick, but my work has been featured by several other international media platforms, including Microsoft News, All Africa News, and the Mail and Guardian. So that is what I do for now. Currently, I'm teaching at the University of Massachusetts Amherst in the United States, where I'm also completing my PhD. So I can say, yeah, that's it about me. That's the little work that I do, and I hope that it can make an impact to so many young people that are curious to learn academic stuff on social media, because I'm sure you know, Mr. Chris, that the social media space is currently dominated by entertainers, musicians, sports people, advertising companies, and all that. But we don't have so much of academic discourses and academic learning disseminated in large amounts as compared to what's happening with these other industries. So it's a contribution that I am proud of, and it's a contribution that I'm happy that it is helping millions and millions of students across the world.
Wow, 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 wow. When we were just unpacking that, I was learning a lot of things, and you brought in a subject. And as I always say in our podcast, we are going to have this will be a conversation whereby we are speaking some of the things that usually some of the observations in the researches that have been happening all around us. And you mentioned the issue that the whole social media space, is now filled with socialites, entertainment industry, trending things. But we are lacking some of some of the stuff that you have been bringing to the space of the research. These are issues that are very pertinent
Oh, yes.
for us as young people, even as communities. And I believe through most of you that you are doing, we're going to be able to grasp and learn and take value in the importance of the knowledge base that you're
Yeah.
bringing in.
Yes.
I was speaking at a conference, and I was saying to them that some people they say the future is something that is found in a distant period, but I believe the future is now. I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
the future is
Yeah.
now. I believe that whatever that we're doing now has got an effect to the future. So whatever decision that we're making today, whatever thing that we're making today, we are not preparing for the next 10 years. You're preparing for now, because if you don't
Yes.
prepare them now, there's no 10 years. So it's something that I'm so appreciative of what you're doing. Bring that knowledge base, because now people they don't want to read. They don't want to read. People they don't read. But such vast knowledge that you've been giving to the community board has been helping. Even the academic board has been helping. But
Yes.
before we jump into our conversation today, I want to ask you, how do you balance this off? How do you balance off you are a columnist, you're an author? How do you balance this? You're also young. How do you balance all of these things? Hey, maybe you can share with the audience. How do you balance this?
Oh, yes, I should say that it's very difficult. It is a formidable exercise to try and manage your time because look at it. I teach students. I write opinion columns. I review books in newspapers. I also write academic journal articles. And at the very same time, I must acquire books and I must interview these authors and edit videos and publish it and all that. So it's very difficult to be in all those spaces. But what I'm very fortunate of is that I work in a space, I work in an industry where I'm afforded that time. I'm afforded the opportunity to work like that because the academic industry, unlike other industries, you get so much time to do research because we are normally hired to do research and to write. So we get a lot of time to do research, in which I get the time to then reach out to scholars, interview them about their books, and even to carry out oral interviews for my own particular research. So I'm lucky that I'm in an industry that gives me that time and that space to be able to do all these kinds of works. One other thing is just passion.
No.
You know, when you are passionate about something, you like it so much avidly, you are just going to make time for it. There are certain things that I have to prioritize and those that I don't have to. So I like that because I like a lot of writing, I like a lot of research and debate. I do the stuff with so much a passion. I do it with so much determination. So that's how I get the time. The other last thing is just time management. I'm not saying I'm the best time manager of my own work and the work of others, but I try to make sure that I devote enough time for each of those works that I do. I make sure that at least constantly I'm releasing a video that I did with an author of a book, with a president of a university or something. At the very same time, after reading that book, I can review it and I can publish with a newspaper. So one of the important things I should make is that these works are connected. So if I interview a scholar and we publish the interview, because I've read the book and because I've gotten more insights from interviewing the scholar, I'm able to write a very good book review, which I can submit to a newspaper and it's published as an article. So all the work that I do with the book series is also connected to the publications that I make as a columnist. And I should say that I specialize in reviewing books. So whatever I publish in columns is usually mostly book reviews of the stuff that I would have interviewed scholars on. So it's actually connected. And again, some of the stuff that I cover on the series is actually stuff that is taught in universities, the stuff that we teach the students every day and all that. So it's just like I'm a journalist of the academia. So it's not like I'm reporting something that's completely new, but I'm reporting something that I do every day with other academics.
Wow. I believe there might be some audience who's also being inspired with such knowledge, with the work that you're doing. And one of the things that we do here at Visionaries Hub is to make sure that we inspire also young people in terms that you can do it. You can do it. Like I said, the future is now. You can do it. You can be able to achieve and be able to use the talents that we have so that you can be able to solve some of these problems that are affecting us. So now I want us, we have got an interesting conversation today. And it's a very interesting conversation. And usually when you bring this conversation, a lot of people they tend to think probably we want to fight the system. We don't fight the system, but we really want to be able to bring out, even as intellectuals, and even also in the academia, how we can be able to help. Because one thing that we need to understand, we are not divorced from our community.
Yes.
Whatever that you are doing is going to affect us. What our leaders or what happens in the system that we are in each and every country that we might be in, whatever policies, whatever things that we are in that system is going to affect us. So we need to be able to look at those things from an intellectual perspective, from a fact perspective, and be able to say these are some of the challenges and how can we be able to solve those problems, or how can we be able to provide solutions to those issues that are affecting us as a community. And this has been one of the issues that I feel like it has been a perennial problem. Perennial problem in most societies, in most countries, not just in Africa. The issue of youth involvement in terms of first and foremost the political discourse, the social aspect, the political socio-economic aspect, especially in this generation that we are now in this period that we are in. And I thought probably it's something that was unique, maybe from back at home or probably in Africa. But I discovered that it's not. It's a common phenomenon that is found not just in the developing countries, but also even in the developed countries.
Yes.
This phenomenon of lack of youth involvement in certain things that are very pertinent to their issues has been something that has been a common phenomenon. So I sent you a clear topic, and I think we also sent with the audience whereby today, last week, last month, we were talking about a whole broad aspect of youth in terms of the socio-political economic issues. But today we thought of drawing out something, a component of that, which is youth and elections, youth at the ballot box. Where the core youth at the ballot box, the progress and the challenges that in the 21st century. And I try to make sure that I'm focusing on this 21st century because a lot of things has happened in this century. A lot of things have happened in terms of how we've seen young people contributing to this. But now, one thing that alarmed me was, as I said last week when I was talking to fellow young people in the United States, and I said to myself, so if this is happening in some of these spaces, what about in other spaces? Because young people are not involved. So we want to start our conversation on this youth and election participation. I believe in all political systems, the electoral cycle begins with it doesn't happen on the day of elections, actually on the day of the polling day. It's a cycle. It's a cycle that begins. It's a 4-year cycle. In most democratic states, it's a 4-year cycle. It's a 4-year cycle. After 4 years, people go back to go and exercise their right to vote. The next 4 years, all those things. And in that process, there's always that process whereby people, they register to vote and they go to vote. In some countries, the limitation process that occurs after some time, and then they go to people, they register to vote in new defined boundaries and they vote. But now in those dynamics, we see few young people interested in that. Interested in that. And that's the question is, why are we having that issue? Why is it the youth, we are not seeing? So I'm going to give you this opportunity to be able to maybe break this space. I've been reading your articles pertaining to the issue, and I love some of the opinions that you're bringing. But I want us to be able to scrutinize and be able to see why this trend is happening. Is this something that is now is a new normal? Why is it? In most cases, we don't see. Do you know, when I was having this conversation, some of these people were saying that I don't think it matters to me. I don't think it matters to me. I don't think it concerns me when I participate in this thing. Even if I vote, even if I put in the vote, will my vote change anything? So these are some of the opinions that have been coming in from a lot of from the youth population. But I want you to be able to unpick this phenomenon and maybe give us a background from your own perspective.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Chris. And I should credit you for raising such a topic and raising such an issue around this time, because to be very honest, we have a crisis, and the crisis is international. It is not a crisis that is confined to one particular geography, to say Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana, or what. It is an international crisis. Studies that have been done into elections and youth participation, they show that the majority of young people do not participate in elections, however we define the participation. So before I break down what I think about it, I'm just going to give at least a short background of myself and where I stand with the research that I do with elections in particular. I think I told you that one of my research interests when I did my introduction is elections and presidential leadership. So I was fortunate for the past couple of years to be a columnist for South Africa's Daily Maverick. I wrote a series of articles for a section that is called the Maverick Citizen. It's edited by a veteran journalist by the name Mark Haywood. I should give a shout out to him on a wonderful platform like this. So I covered a lot of issues around elections in Zimbabwe before the 2023 August presidential elections. So I wrote a series of articles for the Maverick Citizen. I wrote a series of articles for Newsday Zimbabwe. And these were journalistic opinion articles that I was writing. I had a team of research assistants that were on the ground that helped me to come up with these articles and to write them. So, and one other thing was that in the 2023 presidential elections, I was an election observer in Mashonaland East. So this is the kind of experience that I bring to the discussion of elections and presidential leadership. One last thing again that I should just also mention, before those elections, I conducted three presidential debates with young people living in the diaspora, and even those that are in Zimbabwe, young academics, those in civil society, and even some of them who are in political parties. So I interviewed a lot of people and gathered a lot of information around elections and presidential leadership. So what I'm going to tell you is just based on the little information that I've known from the experiences that I've gotten from what I've just told you. And this is very important to emphasize because I'm not trying to claim any academic expertise in the topic. I'm just trying to share what I think and what my opinion is and how it has been shaped by these experiences. So one of the first important points that we have to make as we discuss about elections is that, so for today it's elections only, and it's not elections and presidential leadership like I'm used to. So when we talk about elections and youth participation, we want to first understand what do we mean by participation, because participation is a very broad word that can mean so many things. Youths participate in elections in a variety of ways. So in most cases, you will see that youth participation come in the form of three things. Youth participate in elections as candidates, as voters, and as activists. Those are the three main branches in which they can participate in an election. Participating in an election as candidates entails that they must be the actual people, the face of a political party to run for a particular office, member of parliament, senator, provincial affairs minister, or maybe a presidential candidate, vice president, president. Those are the positions that we expect youths to at least register their interest to want to run as a councillor, to run as even those very small positions in districts and in wards. We also talk of participating just as mere voters. This is not, in this regard, they are not required to campaign or to do anything. They are just required to register their names with an electoral commission and then to show up on polling day as voters. And then number three, we expect youths to participate in elections as activists, running around, campaigning for a candidate, running around spreading our political awareness messages to majority of people so that they understand the issues at stake and they make their choices wisely. So these are the three basic forms of participation that we have for youths. But now when we try to interrogate the question as to why are they not participating, we must also remember that that question must address why they are not participating as candidates, as voters, and as activists. So if you look at it in that way, you're going to see that the reasons why they don't participate as candidates is different from the reasons why they don't participate as voters, and is different from the reasons why they don't participate as activists. Two reasons that have been advanced by researchers that have done some published academic articles on this is that youths feel that the political system is rigged, so it will in not any case reflect their interests. It will not in any way serve their interests because it is rigged to produce an automated outcome. So it is pointless to participate in that election. That is one argument that is usually brought up. The other argument is that the political space is violent and it is not conducive. For many young people find it uninteresting and very dismissive to want to participate in a process that turns out to be violent, that turns out to to produce the outcomes that are not so comfortable and favorable for the majority of them. I'm just citing some of the important ones, but there are so many reasons why youths don't participate in elections. But I'm just giving you like the most important ones that are mostly talked about. So if you look at it, you'll see that that scares away a lot of young people even to participate as candidates. When I did a lot of research and interviews with this with young people in Zimbabwe before the 2023 presidential election, I would go and sit down with people and I would ask them, why wouldn't you contest for an office, for a member of parliament? Why can't you join a political party? why can't you do this? Most of them would say that we don't feel that it's a safe space for us. We don't feel that we can even be afforded the opportunity to run, because most political parties are dominated by old people, and they don't want to relinquish their positions. They don't want to leave those positions. So it's very impossible for them to participate as candidates. Remember, we are dealing with those three key categories. And again, if you look at it as voters, the people that we talk to, I remember doing an interview with one girl in a town called Marondera. I asked her the question that, why wouldn't you participate in the elections? And she told me that she didn't even register. And the reason why she said she didn't register was that she felt that the electoral commission, or the point that she was supposed to register, was too far from where she stays. And I was like, wow, that's very interesting. So for her, it was because of distance. She cannot register because the place where she's supposed to register to participate is too far. I talked to another person. They said they are not interested in registering to vote because they feel that the political system is rigged and it's automated to produce a certain outcome. So as you look at it, you can see that the reasons are so diverse in explaining whether they participate as candidates, whether they participate as voters or as activists. And lastly, in participating as activists, some of them revealed that activism is, it's an exercise that is very involving. You have to interact with people, you have to get into communities, you have to actively be seen doing something in community, advocating for a certain political party or certain political ideas. So that can put your life in danger. It can put your life in danger because you have political enemies. Remember, either party, whatever party you join or whatever interests you want to advance, you're likely to attract enemies. And so that makes the political space not a safe environment for young people to engage with. So those were this is like a brief snapshot or highlight of the kind of findings that we got in trying to investigate why youths don't participate in elections. So I feel that it's an issue that has to be interrogated in terms of those three categories, whether we're looking at it in terms of participating as candidates, participating as mere voters, or just participating as activists. So one last point that I would make is that there are other factors that distract young people from developing an interest and enthusiasm in political affairs. And one of it, I think I've made these arguments in some of the articles that I've written, that one of these distractions is social media. Social media gets a lot, it takes a lot of attention from young people. I did a study that was published by Newsday Zimbabwe and by Microsoft News that reviewed in terms of figures how this plays out. If you look generally at the interests that young people have, especially on the social media spaces, young people mostly engage with content that is linked to music, sport, and entertainment. In some cases, if it talks about relationships and stuff, they're likely to engage with that kind of stuff more seriously. But they are less likely to engage with pages that talk about politics, about government, about democracy, and about all like different all sorts of like governance issues and stuff. It's hard to find one reason why that happens, but the clear thing that we found in the figures that I presented in that study is that there are lesser numbers of young people that engage with pages that talk about politics, but there are more young people that engage with pages that talk about entertainment, sport, music, and all that stuff. So even at interest level, we're not talking about participation. Remember, this is not registering and casting a ballot. It's just interest to say, what do you prioritize when you take your phone and go on social media to interact with people and with material? What is your interest? The interest of young people is not in politics even at that level. So it should never be a surprise for us to hear that we have young people not participating in politics at election level when their interest is not even in politics at the level of just social media interaction and all that. So I think that's what I can say is the brief highlights of what I found in the studies that I've done.
Wow, wow. I was following through, and I believe also our audience have been following through when you were unpacking that tri-structure, that tripod structure of election participation, how you will bring out that the whole tri-structure begins with youth as a voter, youth as a participant, youth as an activist in all these three processes. But also, I wanted also to bring the stuff that also you brought into our attention, the advent of social media. Why isn't advent of that? I want to ask, also as a historian,
Oh, yes.
is this something that is unique to the 21st century, or in other periods, or probably this was also a common feature whereby maybe entertainment took precedence in terms of also addressing some of these issues that we feel like young persons, they're the one that take for the energy and the zeal, they can be able at the forefront. Is it a 21st century phenomenon that we are seeing, or also in the other, probably in the 1980s, in 1990s, this was also the same, probably in their time? Is this a phenomenon of the 21st century? Maybe before I go on, I want maybe to expand on that one.
Oh, it's very unique. I would say it's unique in its own regard. You know, the 21st century has done, like, we've seen a lot of changes. And the way youth engage with social media now, like, is outstandingly unique. We've never seen it throughout history. Like, we've never seen this kind of engagement with online activity than ever before, because we didn't have it in the past. But one thing that we must remember is that youths across time and space, they have one and the same qualities. Like, and these qualities are human. Most youths are energetic. Most youths have short attention spans. Most youths, they want to involve themselves in activities in which they can, exert their energy. They wouldn't like to do things that are not so enthusiastic, that are not involving, that are not engaging and stuff like, which is why you see in most sports, people who participate in sports are mostly younger people other than old people. So that energy is a unique feature of youth as a group. The attention spans is a unique feature of youth as a group. So there are qualities that never change, even if we look at time and space. So even if we look at youths in the Industrial Revolution, youths in the feudal period, youths in the liberation struggle, youths in the civil rights movement, or youths now, it's one and the same feature. But now, what is very, very important for us to interrogate is that what do they use their energy to do in any particular space and time? So if you look at it, for example, in the 1960s and in the 1970s, a majority of young people in their 20s, some of them were teenagers, some of them in their 30s, they came into contact with the people we call freedom fighters, the people behind me here, as you can see. And these people conscientized them to understand that the country was colonized, and the economy was not working to benefit the majority, which is Black people. So it was necessary for them as young people to take up arms and to challenge that kind of system. It was a very formidable exercise to do. You know, it's hard to convince someone that leave whatever you are doing, pursuing academic degrees which benefit you at the end of the day. Leave all that, go into the bush, and then fight a system that is oppressing everyone. Fight for the collective. It was a very difficult thing to do. So back then, youths didn't have social media that they can say, I won't do that. I'll be online checking out my stuff and all that. You know, they didn't have that. So much of them just joined the guerrilla forces. They fought, they won, and things changed. Now, mobilization is a bit difficult to do because people have something else that they can do. People can say, I don't know, I wouldn't want to go out and fight. I can just be online, be checking out my stuff. There's so much things that can entertain us. So social media is indeed a distraction. But now, let's look at it this way. Even though social media is a distraction, it's a unique feature of the 21st century that can be used to advance political discourses. It is a unique 21st century feature that can be used to mobilize. Because I'm sure you remember, if you remember reading about the Arab Spring, much of that Arab Spring revolutions was done through mobilization that happened on social media. So social media is a tool that we can actually use to conscientize the masses, that we can use to engage in massive politicization programs that can help to advance some very good causes that can change the political and economic environment that we are facing. So the biggest question is, how are we using social media in the 21st century to advance the causes that can better our lives? So this is why we are very concerned about youths having their attention grabbed by entertainers, by socialites, by musicians, by sports people. We're not saying they are bad people, but we are saying if they take too much of young people's time and they become the source of knowledge for these young people, it's not a good thing. We also want young people to equally engage with productive stuff that is academic, productive stuff that can help them to be politically aware and to be conscious political citizens. We want them to engage with stuff that can empower them economically for the future. So this is where the debates are, this is where the issues are, and we are fighting as much as we can to get as many young people as possible to engage with stuff that talk about politics, education, the economy, and other different topics. So social media is a unique feature of the 21st century, but how are we using it as young people? What are we doing with social media to make a difference, which was not seen throughout the course of history?
Wow, 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 amazing. I was reading your article actually, and I'm going to project it on the screen. Yeah, the code that I just saw in your recent article in 2022, you wrote about the issue of youth in terms of participation in elections, and I took this one and I just a snippet of it, and they said one such experience is that young people are stubbornly aloof when it comes to elections. Many of them do not register to vote. Even if they do, they do not show up on the polling day. And it continues on another program. They say they are the most affected by democratic processes. They once struggled in record numbers to find work and educational opportunities, but they appear to be least interested in elections. I think this was your article that you wrote in the 22 article. And my question is now, if young people are being faced with all these things that they are the challenges, the day-to-day challenges that are affecting them, job opportunities, issues of educational standards, all those things that are affecting them day in and day out. Why is it probably they are not we are kind of ignorant in terms of all these things? Are we not feeling the pinch of these things? And we are given an opportunity to be able to probably, do you know, I was having this conversation last month, and we were saying, do you know that a lot of young people that even do not know their councillor or their honorable of their own one, not about maybe the MP or a minister, but they don't even know their representative, their communities. They don't even know. When there are budget meetings or community meetings, they don't even go to those meetings. They don't even go to those meetings. But the funny thing is that in their communities, probably there are issues of water shortage, the issues of probably that are affecting them, but they don't go to be able to address those issues in those free community engagement platforms, They would rather go to a show, probably that is $50 to get into that show, $20 to get into that show. But for just for a community meeting, whereby they are saying is young people, we need you to renovate the stadiums, we need you to renovate the community grounds, we need you to renovate the halls, the community halls, so that we can be able to go there and be able to interact. In most countries, they no longer have recreational spaces whereby young people can go and have the fun that they want. They don't have those because those forests are dilapidated. And the question is, why are we not going to say our school our community grounds, they're no longer safe? Why are we not going to address those issues in those community engagements? So when I was reading this, I was just saying that these are some of the things that probably we are seeing. Probably it's not a new normal. Probably it's now engraved in our DNA that we don't care as long I'm enjoying my life. But these are the things that are affecting us. These are the things that are affecting most young people because we don't want to participate. Most people they don't even know their constitution. They don't even know their rights in their constitution. They don't even know. They don't even understand because they feel like probably it's not. It doesn't concern them. But I want to, and as I was saying, this is not only unique even to
Yes.
but not they don't even know. They don't even care. So I wanted to ask you maybe to have a conversation on that. I'm not feeling the pinch.
Look, I get where your question is coming from. You are trying to imply a very logical sense that if you are the most affected by unemployment, if you are the most affected by economic downturn, if you are the most affected by misgovernance, you must be able to feel that my future is being destroyed. So if my future is being destroyed, I must take action. I must at least do something to protect that future from being destroyed. It's a very logical sense. It's a logical question that you are trying to imply. But it doesn't ring like that into the minds of so many people for so many reasons that I'm going to give. But one point I wanted to emphasize is as you were making the point that you just made. So in that article that I wrote for the Daily Maverick, I went just immediately after that, making that argument, I provided statistical figures in terms of numbers to say there's like very good research that has been done by, I'm sure you know, organizations like Team Pachedu,
Yes.
the Research and Advocacy Unit. They've done some very good research, and some other NGOs have done this very good research. So they provide figures that show us that we're talking of millions, Ambassador Chris, millions of young people that are not even registering. Let's not talk about saying casting a ballot on polling day. We're talking of registration alone, just to register to vote. We're talking of millions of people. You were telling me that people don't know about their ward councillor or their member of parliament. That is even too far-fetched. I met people who I did interviews with before the 2023 election who did not know that there was an election that is going to happen. I'm talking of people who did not know that there is something called the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. It is because they are so distanced away, further away from political affairs, such that it takes a lot of work for you to conscientize that person to realize that, no, I'm supposed to have a certain awareness of how things are going in this country at a larger scale. I must participate in political affairs and all that. So I'm trying to just show you that the crisis is deeper than you are portraying it. The crisis is way much worse than what it is. But look at it this way. What are the things that youth alternatively do so that they can substitute the stress that comes with thinking about politics? And that is a very serious thing. Most people, if youth don't register to vote, or if they don't show up on polling day, what else are they going to do? They're likely going to think about migrating to South Africa to go and look for a job. They are likely going to just be on social media and find something to entertain themselves because they feel that, politics it doesn't matter after all. Let's look at things that can entertain us, things that can put smiles on our faces, make us laugh, because most of them are stressed about unemployment, You must also remember that.
Yeah.
So when they go on social media, they are not trying to say we're going there to deliberately look for music because we are not political our way, but it's because it's a way to just relieve some stress. They are unemployed for years, they are graduates, they're struggling to get money, they have so much societal pressures to get married, to get stable and all that, but they can't do it. So if they get the little money they can, they get mobile data, they're going to just hold their phone and they look for entertainment, they laugh, they relieve their stress. So it's a lot of things that explain what they can alternatively do. But one important point I want you to know, which is a big problem, I think this will explain everything. In psychology, like psychologists have come up with this concept that is called the bystander effect,
Okay.
which works this way. I talked about it in one of these articles,
Hmm.
in which whenever a group of people are faced with a problem, let's say it's 10 people that are faced with a problem, right? And the problem is affecting all of them as a collective. There is a tendency that comes at individual thinking level to say, oh, we have a crisis, but someone else will fix it. You get what I'm saying? It is not me. It is not,
Wow.
the responsibility is not upon me to fix that problem. Somebody else will fix it. So all I can do is concentrate on me, on activities that can benefit me, that can change my situation as an individual alone. And then those other national issues, somebody else is going to fix them. So that is where all the problems come, because at the end of the day, if the 10 people think like this individually, nobody's going to, it is going to be very difficult and formidable to mobilize all of them to address the elephant in the room. That is the problem of misgovernance, the problem of poor economic performance, poor economic policies. Nobody's going to put their attention to that. What are we going to think about? We're going to think of saying, how best can I look for a job to provide for myself and my own family? So in that case, people migrate. You know, you and I come to the United States, we get some money, take care of our own business.
Yeah.
If somebody now comes and says, Ambassador Chris, I want us to mobilize, I want us to go and address this situation, which might come with risks of being arrested and all that, you come to think of it to say, there are risks involved in this. So why should why should I sacrifice myself for this? I think somebody else can fix it. I'll just focus on getting money, providing for myself and my family, and somebody else will fix it. So that is the biggest problem, and it has drawn so many people away from politics. And the cause of that is that, you know, the history of our politics from the liberation struggle days up until now, it has been characterized by a lot of violence, a lot of killings, a lot of bloodshed. So when people look at politics, the way people perceive politics, and I could see this from the interviews I did, the moment you mention the word participation in politics, they feel like, wow, it's going to take blood, it's going to take violence. So that's not something that we can do, which brings that thought that somebody else
Needs
will
to do it.
fix it. So I don't have to myself be actively involved in doing that, because there are risks involved, and those risks can even come with death.
Yeah, yeah. I resonate with you that, and it's one of those also conversations that we are discussing, that the moment you say, I remember when I finished my first degree in politics in political science, and the people would ask, so which what program did I did politics? What, you want to die? You know, it's surrounded by,
Yes.
what, are you not afraid to die?
So
You know,
they're associating politics with death.
so I really concur with you that due to that, to what has been surrounding the issues of with politics, issues with a lot of people, they choose to rather stay away and live and focus on the individualism, that if I'm okay, it's okay, you know, someone is going to do it.
Mhm.
But also, as we continue this conversation, uh, we need to be able to try to demystify
Mhm.
and the whole aspect and really bring that consciousness to especially young people that
Yes.
sometimes it's not about you going probably with a weapon or whatever, but you can be able to have this in your community whereby
Mhm.
you say, okay, this do not what we on a community level,
Mhm.
on a neighborhood level. How
Mhm.
can you be able to solve this? Last time we're talking about the issue that in some neighborhoods communities there is proper there's improper sewage circulation. There's a problem. Whereby you're seeing that refuse collection, improper refuse collection. You're saying, wow, this is happening, and you're living that in those spaces. That's where you live. That's where you live.
Mhm.
Are you going to continue living in that place whereby you see that there are piles and piles of dump sites outside?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the funny thing, and I was having this project at school whereby we're doing brownfield redevelopment, and I was having my project that I'm presenting is on the Pomona dam site, and I was
Okay.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
having this such this picture that in most places you are going to see that there are many dam sites. It
Mhm.
isn't about these dam sites where people are living next to them. They are dam sites.
Mhm.
And these are issues that we can be saying, why is it we are paying I think people don't respect their taxes. Right? I think don't respect their taxes.
Mhm.
When they pay those taxes, when you pay for the city council, you're paying your taxes, you're paying for refuse collection, but those things are not happening. And we
Mhm.
were kind of, it's okay. So I feel like where we are now is we need to bring up that consciousness that, you know what, this
Mhm.
is your community. How can you be able, this community is environmentally friendly to us, and also at the end of the day we are able to address these issues that affect it. But now I want us to go to this. We are running out of time. I want to go to this. Now these are the problem. These are the challenges that we are having. This is what's happening. But before we go to those three,
Mhm.
I think you're following the issue of Kenya, what happened in Kenya
Yes.
about the
Yes.
young. And I was saying, okay, I just in interest in that what happened in Kenya, whereby the Gen Zs, what they rose up to address the issue of taxes that were happening in the country. They were able to, and the president, to come down from there to address them on social media, on a Twitter space. Okay, let's have a conversation pertaining to this. And I was saying, these young people, they were able to use the some social media space to say, no, we cannot have we cannot have this happening. We cannot have this happening. So I want us to come now to the solution part, maybe the recommendations part. How can we be able to say, okay, how can we be able to devise some of the recommendation and some of the solutions in order to address our issues in a way that is intellectually, that is also humanly possible, or humanly, I can say, sanely possible. Yeah.
Yes, that's very important. I love that you brought the example of Kenya. It's one example that we saw the power of social media in terms of mobilizing young people to address misgovernance issues and problems affecting the nation. That was a classic example, which youths across the world must actually learn from. The discussion of solutions is very important because in most cases, we talk about the problems and we never want to pay attention to what can be done to resolve the problem or what can be done to address the crisis. So now, one of it that is very obvious from the example that you are giving is that it is important for us to leverage on the things that we have power, influence, and control over. And one of them is social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Social media is a very powerful incentive that we can use because it is based on remote participation. So when we just ask you to like something, we ask you to comment, we ask you to share that material. So you're not being asked to come and participate in a protest in a street where the police is likely to shoot at you or to throw some tear gas and stuff. You're not being asked to do that. You're not being asked to go and register and be a member of a political party. You're just being asked to actively engage and help spread a message criticize things that are not working well in government institutions and that things that are derailing economic and political progress in a country. Social media gives us that particular, advantage and leverage. Look at the work that you are doing right now. You are talking to so many young people that are sharing their insights. If we can get as many young people to bring as many insights that they have, because it's not just me, it's not just the person you interviewed yesterday, it's a lot of other young people that are working in media industry, that are working in the tech industry, in the business industry, that can share their knowledge, that can conscientize the public. And in that way, we can build from there. We can build a very strong movement, a very strong revolution that we can be able to hold the government to account using social media. Because on social media, everything is happening on social media. People can learn on social media. People can share music, can share sports, can share everything. So we can as well hold the government to account through social media. When sometimes I look at stuff that is posted by people like Wopo Chingono, sometimes he posts like very extreme kind of things where he shares maybe a picture of a dilapidated road, a hospital or some sort, and then he tries to present the picture that, look, government is not doing anything about this must be resolved. In as much as that doesn't come out well in terms of demonizing the country at an international platform, he has an international following. It is also a good way to say, even though he's embarrassing the country internationally, why can't you address it? This government, why can't you just construct a very good road? As a government, why can't you buy a cancer machine? He can't be singing about that all the time. Just fix it. Fix it, and then issues will be done. So we are not calling upon people to be political activists or to run as candidates. We just want their engagement and their involvement in very small issues like stuff like this. If there is a problem, if a municipality is not doing its job, if a school is not doing its job, if a headmaster is receiving a brown envelope, that must be exposed. And it must be exposed through platforms like this, because social media can do that job. And if people are going to be scared that if I do a bad job at something, it's going to be known all over the world through social media. So why not? Why can't I do the right thing and make sure that I administer whatever I'm supposed to do the right way? So social media is a powerful tool. Let us leverage it. Let us use it, because it is a tool in which we have control, power, and influence over.
Wow. Thank you so much for that clarity that we can use social media for own advantage to be able to address these issues and project these issues, so that we can have these dialogues, these spaces whereby we can have these conversations and say where are we getting it wrong.
Yes.
And one of the things that I was mentioning, like the power of young people is, we are the ones who are going to school, being educated. We're able to ask the real questions. We're able to ask the pertinent questions. I was having this one, and I was saying to the students who I was speaking to last week, and I was saying that as an intellectual, you are at liberty to ask these three questions: what, how, and when. At one time, I was approached by a politician who wanted me to vote for him. And what I said to him was, is that a good thing? I can do that. But before I do that,
but what, how, and when?
What are your policies? What are your policies? I really want to understand. Before I just go and cast my vote, what are your policies? And okay, I'm going to do this. And I especially said, what are your policies towards you young people in our community? Because in my community, a lot of the times the issue there's been an issue of drug abuse. It has been it's so now rampant. It's the situation is so bad. What are you going to do about this? And explaining, and I said, how are you going to do that? Yes, okay, this is the plan that you have, but how are you going to implement that? Because in other times we are given a plan. Okay, we're going to do this, but we don't ask the question, how are you going to do that? And the last one is when, the time frame. When are you going to do that? When are you going to do that? Well, some of them, they've been in parliament for 10 years. but they haven't implemented anything. When are you going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like as young people, we go to school, and the people who are going to school, not for you to just get a degree, get a certificate, get a master's, and then no, it's able to ask this question. Okay, this is a good thing, but how are we going to solve this?
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to do this? Which resources do we need to put up together so that we can be able to achieve this? How can we be that's the advantage and the benefit that we can, and coupled now with social media. Let's have
Yes.
this conversation, honorable member.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for coming, to address us. But this is a
Yes.
good plan. But how are we going to to solve this? And
Yes.
when, what sort of help do you need for us to be able to achieve this? This is some of
Mm-hmm.
the questions I was just encouraging us, the young people that I had, that we have that power to be able to ask those questions,
Mm-hmm.
especially things that affect us.
Mm-hmm.
How will we be able to address issue of public safety?
Mm-hmm.
How can we address this? In how, which partners are we going to be engaging with,
Mm-hmm.
and bring them to task? And at times, people usually come during election time. You don't see them after elections. You don't
Ah,
see them. Even we had election last year in Zimbabwe,
yes.
even other countries, there were election.
Yes.
Have you seen your member of parliament coming back to you? They
Mm-hmm.
don't even come back to them. The feedback meetings. The feedback
Mm-hmm.
meetings, this we've done so far, we've done this. Some of them actually had to implement things in another election year.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That to drum up, And I was saying, as young people, I was so heartbroken. And sometime when last year I was also an observer,
Oh, nice. Nice.
and what broke my heart was that young people can be bribed
Ah, yes.
to, a politician can buy food, just dollar, a bread,
Oh,
right?
right. Mm.
A 50 cents bread, yeah, loaf of bread, and probably we call them soft drink, the tweezers, the
Oh, yes.
mirindas.
A Coke.
We call it soda, yeah. They call it. But that's where I'm coming from. Just only that when they eat that, when they are done, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them will be even the politicians could buy alcohol, only alcohol, maybe I don't know how it costs. Only for they get drunk, and then it's okay. For the next 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing. They
Mm-hmm.
come back in an election year. They give you the same things. And I was
Mm-hmm.
saying, young people who are going to school, and we are hoodwinked to that
Yeah.
extent whereby we think it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
whereby someone can just go. I know young people, we just buy them or buy alcohol, they're okay. We just
Mm-hmm.
buy 50 cents mirindas and what in those,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still okay. It's still, maybe it's still okay, but after we've drink the mirinda
Mm-hmm.
in the loaf of bread, we
Mm-hmm.
need to ask these questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your policies?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do it? Yes, we are drinking, but honorable member,
Mm-hmm.
how are we going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to do that? As we are eating, let's
Mm-hmm.
ask those questions, because they are very important in the next
Mm-hmm.
5 years or in the next 6 years. That person is going to be our representative. And funny enough, some of them, when they even go to parliament,
Mm-hmm.
most of the in their tenure of maybe in the council houses, you don't see them contributing anything. You don't see them.
They
You
are
don't see
quiet.
them even contributing to any policy issue.
Mm-hmm.
They are sitting there, they're sitting cozy, and they are okay. They are okay. Some of them, they even sleep in parliament.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
sleeping, and they're
They are
okay. And
sleepies.
you're okay with that.
Yeah.
You're okay with that? Five
Yeah.
years. Someone
Mm-hmm.
is a member of parliament. 5 years, someone is a council, is an honorable member, is a council member, and you don't see them even raising any issue in the council house, raising an issue in parliament,
Yeah.
and you see them in the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I believe we can be able to encourage, or able to know what this is certain things that we need to address. But now, as we close off, it's been an hour. I just want you maybe to just share with us maybe your closing
Mm-hmm.
statements, your closing statements regarding this. Whoa, it's a lot. It's a lot of things. It's a lot. But I want you to bring those closing statements from us.
Oh yeah, I should say again, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my views. I could be wrong, so I always give that room to say, I'm sharing my views. I'm grateful of the opportunity. I could be wrong, but it is important for us to just have a platform in which we can share these views, whether we have differences or not. But just having the opportunity and the platform to share these views is something that is very good, and I appreciate you for doing that. I respect your audience, and I appreciate the time that you've given me. The message that I would definitely want to impress upon our young people in Zimbabwe and even the world over is that let us take advantage of this unique gift that we've been given in the 20th century, in the 21st century, and this is the gift of social media. Everyone now has the democratic power. It is a democratically open space. You can open a YouTube account for free. You can open a Facebook account for free, an Instagram account for free, an account for any social media platform. And you can begin to engage with important stuff that is affecting young people politically, economically, and socially. So let's take advantage of this. Let's advance good ideas. Let's advance education. Let's advance issues that can change our lives for the long run. With this, I thank you, Mr. Chris.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you so much. I'm so humbled and so honored. And I remember when I said, "Oh, I really want you to come on this podcast." You didn't hesitate. You came in, and I respect your work and what you've been doing, and I'm so proud of how you've been doing things and how you've been those book series. And I really want to also take this opportunity now, as I
Mhm.
said, I really encourage everyone who's watching, go and watch this book series. And I want maybe you can be able to share with us how can we can be able to access this book
Oh
series,
yes,
some of
yes.
your work also.
Oh yes, definitely. The name of the book series is the Anotida Chikumbu book series. So it is available on YouTube. You can just access it, and do not forget to subscribe and to hit that notification button. I think Ambassador Chris, you can actually share the link of that channel on the maybe in a comment section or in the description panel of the video. Those who are interested in following academic discourses, following latest publications in subjects like history, economics, politics, all the humanities and social sciences, please do not forget to do that. Click that link. I always talk to top scholars in any field. I should emphasize this, Ambassador Chris, not in a braggadocious way, but to say I talk to top scholars only, top researchers in any field, whether it's history, politics, or economics, or any humanities and social science subject. I get to invite them to talk about their books, to deliver lectures. So it is a platform that you can learn for free. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to do anything. You just have to sit and listen to academics and top scholars speak, and you can learn something from it.
Wow. So I'm going to send the link, YouTube link to the book series, so that some of the audience would want to really learn. It's a really learning platform. I would encourage and encourage everyone who would want to really learn that this is a go-to platform. And also maybe there are also people that will also want to follow you on your handles. Where can they also get connected to you?
Yes. I have a Facebook page. It's Constantine Anotida Chikumbu. That's my Facebook page. The YouTube I've just given you, the Anotida Chikumbu book series. I use the same name for Instagram, Constantine Anotida Chikumbu. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm also available on Twitter. I'm active across all these platforms. I advance academic education using all these platforms.
Wow. Thank you so much. So what I'm going to post, I'm going to after this podcast, I'm going to post the link to all these platforms so that you can be able to engage with Anotida. And I'm so humble, my brother. Thank you so much for joining us on this second episode of the Visionaries Hub Network. And I believe that we're going to continue having this conversation, and I believe that I'm going to continue inviting you to this, even having panel discussions pertaining to various issues that we feel like we need to be able to bring into attention and live this dialogue. It's high time we have these spaces whereby we have conversation. Let's try to make sure that the social media space also has content that is also beneficial, that's also rich, they can be able to transform lives. But I want to thank you so much, all our viewers who are watching us for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to continue having these discussions in various topics. Watch out for a lot of production that are going to come in your way. We're going to be leaving this stream on this page. Continue following us on this page. We're also going to share this broadcast on our YouTube channels or Instagram. Please do follow us, and you're also free to submit your opinion. What do you think about this? What can we do? It's a dialogue in the day. What can we do? Your opinions, they are so important to us, and they also help also young people that will be watching. And if you really want to also be part of our discussion, feel free to inbox us. You can inbox us on our Facebook page, and also we can be able to bring you in the conversation. But for now, thank you so much. Have a good day. Anotida, thank you so much once again for gracing us. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, my brother.